far. There's been plenty of happenings, and there's always something going down in the AFC South. Let's start with the biggest news out there in the NFL. Julio Jones wants out of Atlanta. As plenty of saw, Shannon Sharpe had him on the phone, and he basically said he wanted out of there. Whether folks liked the way Shannon Sharpe got the information or not, that's not the discussion for tonight. The main point is he wants out of Atlanta. So one place that has been mentioned is Tennessee. The Tennessee Titans have been mentioned. And in some reports out there, they have the Titans and the New England Patriots as the leading contenders, which I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, it could be, it couldn't be. But we know one thing. A.J. Brown wants Julio Jones to be a Tennessee Titan. Well, I'm gonna stop telling you about it. I'm just gonna let A.J. Brown just kind of tell you what he's talking about real quick.
Haven't even been released yet. Okay, I'm going to sell you on some things right here. Listen to me closely. You have Tannehill, Mr. Finger Roll himself, every time. Aaron Hill, listen, he does what he needs to be done. Like, he's a leader. He's a great passer. He's it. Anyway, next. Him, behind me, superhuman. We don't even have to discuss him. He speaks for himself. Look how mean he look in the picture. Like, okay. Then me, I'm up and coming. Pro Bowl year 2, not a big deal, kind of a big deal, but not really. Okay, scratch that. Anyway, whatever. You, the GOAT of our era, of our receivers. Help me, help you. Come home, Julio. Come home.
For those that are watching on YouTube or any other platforms, you saw the TikTok video that A.J. Brown did trying to recruit Julio Jones and making him want to come here. Well, the thing is, Julio Jones, of course, is not a free agent, and he doesn't have a no-trade clause, so he doesn't necessarily control where he goes. However, he can put the bug in the Falcons' ear that he would want to come here. And, of course, this is probably Titans management is definitely probably seeing all of this as well. So, you know, we'll see what happens, but it definitely was an interesting TikTok video from A.J. Brown. Of course, you know, he wears number 11, and that's the number he wears because of Julio Jones. Yes, he definitely looks up to Julio Jones. So, you know, if he was to come here, it'd definitely be an interesting combination between him and Julio, and between A.J. Brown, Julio, and newly acquired Josh Reynolds from the Los Angeles Rams. So definitely, he's definitely putting on the full court press. He also, for those that don't know, slid into his DMs and did a voicemail there, a voice message there too. So yes, A.J. Brown is selling him on the Tennessee Titans. Now, if it happens or not, we don't know, but we'll see what happens. But definitely that's number one of our early hits to start the show. The second one, it should be a good moment when fans are back in buildings in terms of, you know, safely back in buildings. This is not a AFC South or a football point or my early hit here. This is about fans behaving badly. Now, fans can behave badly in any sport, whether it be football, basketball, baseball, whatever. But in this case, the NBA playoffs, fans behaved badly. Badly. If you didn't see it, on Wednesday night, there was a fan as Russell Westbrook was leaving the court. If you're watching the show, you'll see the video of Russell Westbrook walking out and then popcorn being thrown on him by a fan, and of course everyone having to hold him back. In this instance, of course, Russell Westbrook is heated. And of course, he had a few choice words after the game, a few bleep outs, of course, obviously. But it's just why. I don't understand why he does. The fan would do this or think that was okay to do. Of course, with this fan, they have banned him and they have revoked his season tickets as a 76ers fan. And now there was another one as well. I don't have a video of that one for those watching, but for those listening, that was a New York Knicks fan spitting on Trae Young. Yes, you heard that right. A New York Knicks fan spitting on Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks. Now that fan has been banned from the arena. He wasn't a season ticket holder, so they couldn't take that away. But what they can do when you spit on someone, they can tell the police. So now the police are involved. I bet he'll think twice about doing anything like that. And why would he even think of that anyway? Is my thinking. Now, many are asking why or what things can we do to stop these things from happening. Now, I heard a point from, I'll take it from one of my podcast brethren, Damian Adams. And for those who don't know, he has a show called The Real Deal with Damian Adams, which is on all your streaming platforms. Podcast, Spotify, Apple iTunes, all those things. He's there. He had a point today, and he said before every game, they should play the video of the Malice in the Palace to show fans what could happen if they lose their minds and think they can do whatever, the players on the court. For those that don't remember that is when the Pacers were playing against the Detroit Pistons, and he went to, and basically Ron Artest had a beer thrown on him, and he went into the stands. So, that can happen if you attack a player or anything like that. That can happen. So, Damian was thinking maybe that shake up fans, not have them, think about doing anything crazy. I, on the other hand, have a different idea. When you buy your tickets, there should be a clause in the tickets where you have to be on your best behavior. You cannot approach or attack players or come at players or anything like that. And in that clause, it says if you mess around and break that clause, then you have to sit 5 minutes in a room with specific player that you threw something at or spit at or anything like that. That player can do whatever that player wants for those 5 minutes. And you can do nothing about it because you've legally paid for the tickets and signed for it and said that you will do everything to act in the best, on your best behavior. So what would have happened if that guy that spit on Trae Young saw him in a room? Now, everyone looks at Trae Young as a small guy on the basketball court, but I'm pretty sure, a 5'11" or so guy is going to look pretty tall to a guy that's probably like 5'4". So think about that one. And then also, would that guy that threw popcorn really want to see Russell Westbrook for 5 minutes? I don't think he would. So NBA, if you're listening, I know it's an interesting thing to come up with, but I think that would do it too. I think that would definitely do it. So that's my thoughts right there. That's my early hits for this week. Now let's get down to the show. All right. For this week's show, we're going to talk about the schedule of the Indianapolis Colts. For those that saw the Indianapolis Colts last year, they were led by Phillip Rivers. That's all I'm going to say about Phillip Rivers. But they went to 11-5 last year, tied for the AFC South crown. Of course, lost it in a tiebreaker to the Tennessee Titans, which means they had to go to Buffalo, where they lost 27-24 in the wild card round last year. And now they're to this year. And yes, they have a new quarterback. Phillip Rivers has said goodbye to the NFL, and he has gone to coach in Alabama for a team that he committed to coaching before he even stepped foot in Indianapolis, which that's interesting in its own right. But that's another story for another day. So in comes Carson Wentz. They traded for him this offseason, and of course, Philadelphia is hoping he stays healthy so that 2022 second-round pick becomes a first-round pick. But again, it's Carson Wentz. He is in Indianapolis now. He is the commander and at the helm of this team. And the Colts are looking to make the playoffs again, and not only make the playoffs, but make it deep in the playoffs. So, how do they do this year? What can they make happen this year? Let's take a look at the schedule. Now, I've got my paper for those that are looking at the show. And to keep in mind, I want to tell you all, you can watch it. People are watching it right now. People can watch it on Facebook and watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube if you want to catch a replay. There will be a listening version out as well for those listening. Hey, you're listening to the listening version. But yes. Let's see. I've got my paper right here with me, and let's go over the schedule for the Colts. Week 1, they've got the Seattle Seahawks. Now, that seems like a tough matchup. But you got to also remember, Russell Wilson's been running for his life for the last few years. I think that DeForest Buckner, I think Kwity Paye, a newcomer, the rookie from Michigan, comes out this game, and I think he has a good one. And I think they keep Russell Wilson running around all game long. And I don't think the Seattle defense is necessarily going to be at its peak at this point. Combine that with Carson Wentz's first game with this offense and the adrenaline that will be in the building that is Lucas Oil Stadium, and I think the Seahawks take a loss. So the Colts start the season 1-0. But it's not done yet. They do have another game at home before they go on the road, and that's against the Los Angeles Rams. That's an early game, by the way. And of course, the Rams have two of the best defensive players in all of the NFL in Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. So that defense is going to be up to task. Now, the question is the offense going to be up to speed as well? Now, I'll say this. It could be a defensive battle in this game, and it could be who makes the first mistake. Is Carson Wentz going to play hero ball, or is Matt Stafford going to make one of those inexplicable passes that don't make sense? I'm betting on Stafford making an inexplicable pass that doesn't make sense. And the Colts go to 2-0 as they beat the Los Angeles Rams. Now, here comes the divisional game, the Tennessee Titans. The Colts have to come down to Nashville to take on the Tennessee Titans. And in this game, I don't think Carson Wentz gets it done. I think Carson Wentz takes a step back in this game as he's still learning his teammates. The excitement kind of wears off, and the Colts lose to the Titans, go to 2-1. After that, the Colts go to Miami. They take on the Mighty Tuas and the Dolphins. Yeah, no, I call them the Mighty Tuas. Hey, get over it. We'll be all right. I don't think they're the Mighty Tuas, but hey. Now, in this game, I would say it probably will be another physical game. The difference is the Colts have a running game. The Dolphins, we're still not sure if they have a solid running game. We'll see. But in this aspect, I give the game to the Colts. Oh, hold on. Let me look again. I didn't. I actually have the Dolphins losing that game. Might have to think about that one again. Miami Dolphins may pin it off, but just for my, what I had before the broadcast, I'm going to go ahead and say the Miami Dolphins lose that game. So there we go. Or I'm sorry, I'm going to say the Miami Dolphins win that game. So there we go. We're going to go with that. So that puts the Colts at 2-2. Next up, Week 5, ESPN game, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I would usually probably pick the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson to win these games. But if you looked at the last couple of seasons, the last season or two, they've kind of started off a little slow. And my favorite offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, is still their offensive coordinator, which means they're not going to make adjustments, which means the Colts will make adjustments, which means the Colts will win this game against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. So there we go. That's the breakdown of that game. The Texans versus the Colts. Do I need to break that down? Let the Colts win. All right. Next week, it'll be at the 49ers. It's week 7. They're traveling to the 49ers. I'm not sure this turns out very pretty for them. I'll say the Colts lose this one in San Francisco, and DeForest Buckner's return back to the Bay. They're going to lose this one under the bright lights of NFL on NBC. Yeah, that is a night game. Yeah, I just don't see the Colts winning that game. Unfortunately, it is what it is. All right, but they do face and then come back the next week in week 8, and they see those same Tennessee Titans. I think the resolve will set in, though. I think they'll want revenge, and they'll end up splitting games this season, and the Colts will win that one at home against the Titans. Okay, next up is the Jets. The Jets. Need I say really anything? There'll be some excitement. I won't do them like that. There'll be some excitement. The Jets will actually fight. Robert Saleh is not having it. He's going to have them fighting. They're going to be playing hard. They're going to be doing their thing. They're going to try to run the football right at you. The thing is, I don't think DeForest Buckner's moving. So give me the Colts winning that game. That's 2 wins in a row for them if you're keeping score. Then they face the Jaguars. The Jaguars will be better at that point, but I just don't think they'll have enough to win that game. So I'll go with the Jacksonville Jaguars to lose that game to the Colts. Next game, they're at Buffalo again. Right back to the scene of where their season ended last year. They may have a different quarterback, but the same result will be happening. I think Stephon Diggs is going to have a field day. I don't see a corner on that Colts defense that can keep up with him nor stop him. So, yes, it will be a Colts loss in that one. 3-game win streak over. And then, of course, they face the defending NFL champions, Tampa Bay Bucks. Tom Brady and the boys come to town, Lucas Oil Stadium. I'm sorry, Colts, I do not see you beating Tampa Bay in this game. The only way I see it happening is if the Tampa Bay Bucks are in a serious haze and Tom Brady is enjoying his golden years as a quarterback. In a bad way. I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I think the Colts lose that game to the Bucks. Week 13, you've got the Texans. That's a W. Texans, I'll be doing the Texans season as well. Got to do it, but it's not going to be pretty. It probably be a lot of losses on that one, but that'll be another week. Week 14 is the bye week for the Colts. Then you have week 15 versus the Patriots. I think they lose to the Patriots. I think Cam Newton's going to have something special for us this year. He's going to be able to go through training camp. He's got a young quarterback behind him that they're drafting to replace him. So I think he's going to tell them, hey, pump them brakes. I'm not done yet. And plus, with the weapons that he has, I think he gets it done, and they get that W, and they beat the Colts. Next week, it's week 16, Christmas night against the Cardinals. And it's in Arizona. Even though people look at Arizona, you got D-Hop on one side, you got AJ Green out there, you got JJ Watt on the defense now. I still think the Colts can win that game. Call me crazy, but I think they find their groove. At that point, they're starting to find their groove to finish out the season. And they'll win that game, and that'll propel them. And I think they'll win against Las Vegas and at Jacksonville to finish the season at 11-6, which means if you were watching last week, I had the Titans at 10-7. So that would mean the Colts would win the division. So yes, I've got the Colts winning the division right now. That's what I've got. You can hate it or love it, but they've come close. They came close last year. I don't think they fall short this year. Couple things I want to point out that actually may make or break things for them. Does Carson Wentz stay healthy and look more consistent as the year goes on? I know there will be some rust. I know there will be some still trying to get familiar with with Carson Wentz and with the receivers. But as the season goes on, he should get more and more familiar with them, know what they like to do, and things like that. Now, one thing that he also does, besides the consistency and those things, is can he stay healthy? Now, the Eagles are cheering for him to stay healthy because they want that first round pick. The Colts are cheering for him to be healthy because either you get Jacob Eason or you get Sam Erlinger coming in if he gets injured. Do they want to see that? Do the Colts fans want to see that? Because really, you're looking at just running the football and running pretty safe pass routes. That's not exactly the offense they want to run. We'll see. We'll see what happens when it comes to that. Now, we do have one other thing that's going to be a key to their season too. How does the wide receiver and running back group continue to develop? Now, they have a young wide receiver and a Michael Pittman Jr., his dad, if those that don't remember, Michael Pittman Sr. was a running back on the Tampa Bay Bucks team that won the Super Bowl before the Bucks won it this past year, of course. But he came out and he played pretty well, and he did his thing, and they're expecting him to develop more and more as the season goes on and as his career goes on. So this year they're looking for big things from him. Does he continue to develop, or does he have that sophomore slump? That's something to watch. Bashal as well is another guy, another young guy. He's someone to watch as well. He had great rapport with Phillip Rivers. It's going to be interesting to see if he's able to continue to develop as well. Also, we're going to look at T.Y. Hilton. Now, I know I said about people continuing to develop, but we got to see, was last year a fluke or can he get back in stride, especially with a new quarterback and a quarterback that has a strong arm to get it to him down the field? We'll see. I don't know that answer, but it is something to watch. As far as the running back group, you got Jonathan Taylor leading that group. He'll be in his second year as well. He pretty much cemented himself as the starting running back, even though Marlon Mack is back on the team on a one-year deal, which I don't understand why they brought him back, but that's all another story. But yeah, they've got a couple good backs back there. They're going to pound the football. They can pound the football, provided the offensive line gets things done. Then you've got a Swiss Army knife weapon at a running back as well. And name escapes me right now. But anyway, they've got depth at running back. They can get some things done. And if those guys continue to develop, their offense is going to get better and better, especially at the wide receiver and the running back position. That's what I have tonight for you. I had a few comments come in. For those, of course, that are watching the show, you can see these comments. I'm going to put them up on the screen. For those that are listening, I'll read the comments to you as well, okay? When it came to the Colts when it came to the Colts, not the Colts, I'm sorry. When it came to my earlier comments when I said about Julio Jones coming to the Tennessee Titans and potentially A.J. Brown trying to recruit him here, had a comment from R.W. Norfleet Jr., and here was his comment. Who and what do you give for the 32-year-old wide receiver? I know he is a big target and still ball out for now, but with what the Titans have started building on offense, does the money he's going to be worth the amount of time he'll play in Nashville versus the DBs, which was drafted and addressed that needed? Even though the 28-year-old Clowney was on defense, how did that pan out? Just a thought. Okay, well, we'll tell you this. Is it, he may not have 1 or 2 more years. I think he has 1 or 2 more years on his contract, honestly, Mr. Norfleet. So what I can say is I think that potentially he'll play it out, couple years, and then after, a couple years, they can think about an extension, maybe a team-friendly extension at that point, because, he'll be 34, going on 35. Also, another thing is, why not take a chance? Why not? Has standing pat got you any further in the playoffs? Has it? Really hasn't. So why not take a chance? Why not push forward? Why not roll the dice and see if you can get that guy to take you over the top? Why not do it? What's the worst that can happen? What is the worst that can happen? All right. Now I've got, let's see, one other comment. This was about the fans on the field, the fans throwing things at players. I'm sorry. Said I had a comment. I had if you haven't heard it, just go back and listen to it. I had Damian Adams said that would definitely stop the fans from acting crazy to have to meet the player in the room for 5 minutes after the game. Yeah, I may actually type something up and see if I can actually get it legally binding and present it to leagues. Maybe I should do that. Yeah, because I really think if a fan had to meet a player in a room 5 minutes, nobody around, and anything goes, fans will stop acting up. Fans would definitely stop acting up. Well, we've gone through the schedule for the Indianapolis Colts, and looking at the time, that's all I have for tonight. Just want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching if you were watching. Thank you all for listening if you were listening. You can catch me on Twitter at Mike Patton82. That's Mike Patton. That's Patton 82. You can catch me on there. You can watch a replay on this show if you'd like on YouTube. That my channel there is The Sports Awakening. Check that out there if you want to watch the replay there. And also, thanks to you all who are listening, whether it be on Spotify or wherever you're listening. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for watching. Would you share, subscribe at whatever social media outlet you're at that you either listen or watch the show? I'd greatly appreciate it. The tour is stopped in Indianapolis next week. Tune in to see where it goes. This has been Touring the AFC South with your host, Mike Patton, and we're out. Have a good one.